Let's see what we doing here. Oh wait, hold on. So the error occurred. Okay, let's see. But it actually says that we're live. Okay, so okay, there it goes. All right, guys. Thank you guys for hopping on. I'm gonna make sure I just check my page, Angie, just to make sure we're live. But I'm pretty sure we are. Yep, we are. All right, good. So we got good sound. Can you hear me? Okay, Angie.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So I am going to give everybody a couple minutes to hop on because I know sometimes with live videos it takes it a while to kind of process through whatever channel it's going to process through,
Hmm.
but definitely hop on and just talk to this amazing young lady with me. I'm super excited. I'm going to share this in the other group too. So we'll go ahead and just kind of just tell people a little bit about like who you are and what you do and just basically introduce yourself.
Okay, you want to go now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hi guys. I'm Angela Smith. I'm actually a professional organizer, and I have spaces they love and enjoy. And I do that through organization. I started Just Live in 2000. Officially started Just Live
Right.
in 2016, the end
Uh-huh.
of 2016. But I've always had a passion for organizing because I've always correlated organization with, your state of mind and different things like that, your mental health. And so a clearer space, a clearer mind.
Right.
That's my motto. So you clear the space, you'll clear your mind, and just how clutter really impacts you
Mhm.
mentally, spiritually, physically. You get overwhelmed, you're not productive, and things are just chaotic, and so now you're just in a funk. And it's a whole ripple effect when it comes to organization. So if
Mhm.
you can get organized, then you can change your position in life. You can change your posture, and
Right.
that's my goal, is to help people change their posture so that they can
That's
really
right.
thrive in what they desire to do. So that's the quick
So
version.
uh just live. And hey Jamita, hey Joanna, just live. Before we get into it, I want to give a couple other people the opportunity to hop on. We got a lot of people on already. Please share this out because this is going to be amazing. I promise. Y'all don't even know what is about to happen. Johanna knows, but not everybody. So,
Hey,
where did you come
Johanna.
up with the name Just Live? Why did you come up with that name?
So after I figured out what I wanted to do, I was like, okay, so what's the name going to be?
Uh
And so
huh.
I'm just sitting in my room, and I swear, with just me and God, I'm like, what's the goal in life? Like, what's
Right.
what's the goal for my business? And I'm like, well, I just want people to live. And I'm like,
Right.
just live. There we go. So now that's
Right.
the whole thing. So when I'm done organizing somebody's space, it's like, oh man, now I can just live. I get that in all my
Right.
reviews, and it's just the whole thing, because it's like you can't live in clutter.
Mhm.
You can't
Right.
really live when things are out of order and you don't have any structure or any order at all. Everything is
Mhm.
all over the place. You're not able to live.
It's hard to
So
function.
it's hard. It's really hard to function. It's
Right.
really
Right.
hard to
Right.
function.
So I want to just talk, the reason why I okay. So I'm gonna just say this from the beginning. I tell Angie she is my success story, and we'll get back to that. But the
You're my
reason
pusher.
why, right? And she always said that, and it's funny how just how you come into relationship with people and
Hmm.
you learn about yourself through those relationships. It's like you
Hmm.
evolve through those because when you would say that to me, I would just it would go in one ear and out the other, and then as time went on, I'd begin to realize what that was, right?
Hmm.
So I want to just start with wife you. So I'm gonna tell what it is, and then I'm gonna let you tell how you came into contact with wife you. So
Okay.
wife you was I really believe that anything that God calls you to do, that it's not just for you, it's gonna impact other people.
Hmm.
So I have this group called the Secret Wives Society, and in these women, we really focused on. A lot of us were in the beginning stages of marriage. Some were growing through, the 7 year period in marriage or whatever, just growing in our marriages. But it was like we wanted to focus on becoming better wives and just really putting God first and who we were as wives and in our marriages,
Hmm.
and taking our eyes off our spouses, but keeping our eyes on Christ. And because of that, we just started to really get into our roles. This female, who I am as a female, in the business place. Hey, Dee Dee, who I am as a businesswoman in the marketplace. That's that female, that fe, that iron, that sharp woman. But then who I am as a woman, the softer side of me, and how I relate to other women. And then there's me as a wife. So Pastor D has this thing called female, woman, wife. But when we got into like the wife stage, all of us had this desire to kind of be closer to our homes and not really just, it really wasn't even a matter of being close to the home as much as we didn't want obligations outside of the home coming in against what we were committed to in the home. So we understood that we had to work, but we understood that, like that Proverbs 31 woman, that we could be industrious and we could do things from our house. So I said, you know what? I am going to get women together and we are going to figure out how to create 6-figure incomes from our home, right? That was the goal. None of us had it. She didn't have Just Live. I wasn't thinking about real estate. Johanna was one of them. I can't name them all, but I know it was me, you, Johanna, Tiffany, Janae, Brenda,
Tamara.
I can't. It was 10 of us.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna figure out and put those names. But we just got together and we said, listen, we don't know what it is we want to do, but we know that God has called us to be administrators of our home, and we feel like the workplace, the work responsibilities, all those things are getting in the way of it. So we're going to just get together and believe God for 6-figure incomes from our home. And I remember it was $8,333 a month. I said, we're going to put this on paper. We're going to believe God for it. And we got together, we formed together, and we would just do business teachings. So we would have people come in every week and talk about credit, talk about finances, talk about faith, talk about organization and business and calendar management and this, that, and the third. And we just began to start to get ideas, right? So I want you to talk about your experience with Wife U, because I'm telling you, I really think I'm going to do that again sometime in the future if the Lord shall allow.
You should. Well, Wife U is the what started it all, honestly. I was just going on my everyday life, just stressed out. And I remember talking to Cheese that one day, and I'm like, I cannot take this job no more. I just feel like it's more than I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what it is yet. We know we have the ministry side of it, but what am I supposed to be doing as far as business in my home and different things like that? And so when Cheezette called me, and she's like, hey, check this idea out. And I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. I'm down. I'm in. And so we started in October of 2016.
16, yeah.
Probably like October-ish, around that time, 2016. I got my business license. And so we was doing, like she said, all the teachings and different things like that. And I think that's what really pushed me, because I was seeing people that have done it or still doing it and are still doing it right now. And I look back on some of those people now and just see how far they have come just from 2016. And so I'm like, okay, well, I kind of like this. And I remember it was one person that came on. I forgot the person's name, but
it was Brinley Tucker.
Yeah. She said, if you can do anything for the rest of your life without getting paid for it, what would it be? And I'm like, I like to organize. She's like, that's the thing. I'm like, really? So I went Google crazy, started looking up professional organization and all this other stuff. I'm like, it's a whole thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do this. So started the business, did all the background work for it and different things like that. But if I didn't have Wife U to kind of like keep me, you can do it, girl, you got this, or how I posted
and we
my
put
logo
a timeline on it.
Yes, we all had a timeline. We all had a timeline.
We said it was going to be 1 year.
And I left my job literally 1 year after we started Wife U.
Right.
Yep.
And that just goes to show you how powerful accountability is. Because I remember when you posted the logo and you were like, hey, this is my organizational business logo. What do you think? And you posted like 3 or 4 different things. And everybody was like, I like this one. I like that one. And I just remember everybody just started throwing ideas out there. And we were just like sifting through ideas. Like, this is a good idea. This is not a good idea. And then we just started going, right? So Tiffany was actually, I was telling Angie today, Tiffany was the first one to quit her job.
Yep.
Right. So we started in October. Tiffany quit her job in February.
Yeah.
And I remember she quit her job and I felt some type of way. I was like, it put the pressure on me. I was like, geez, this is your group. I was like, you're supposed to be the leader. Like, how is she at this destination before you? I was like, you got to get it together. And then I just I thought it was going to be the publishing company. So I was gathering more clients, doing more. Meanwhile, because I was doing more in my own capacity, what was happening is work was getting more annoying. It was harder to function because I had so much of my own business because I'm praying in faith to grow my business. And then I just, I remember I'm like, okay, I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I can't have another person in this group quit their job before me when I'm the one that started it and said we're going to do this. I'm like, well, I'm quitting. And I remember it was just, I believe it was like May 25th, 2017. I signed into work. I was like, effective immediately, I'm quitting. Like, I'm done. Don't call me. Don't talk to me. Like, and I had tried to quit 2 weeks before, but then they gave me a raise and I decided to stay. But then I kept feeling God saying, I started this so that you could have support too. There's something I'm trying to birth in you too. And you guys are all birthing it together. And then you were the very next one to leave your job.
Yeah. It was like a breath of fresh air, honestly, when I left. When I made the decision. But I knew I had that kind of safety net of people, accountability partners that I can be like, hey guys, I'm feeling this way today. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to go back. Cause it's been times I'm like, I'll go back to my 9 to 5. I'll go back in. Then I'm like, nah, it's okay. Cause I remember everything that we built and started with Wife U. And even some of the people that was in the group, I still talk to now. Like, literally, we're texting. We're like, hey, I got this idea. Here's my course. Check this out. I'm like, oh, that's a nice course.
Some of them are clients.
Yeah, and some of them are clients. And so it's just like, when you have a group of people that you're on the same page, you have somebody that you're accountable to, I think it pushes you further faster. So instead of trying to do it by yourself, you have those people that's like, hey, that's not a good logo. That logo is not cute at all. Don't do that. Do this one. You have someone that say, hey, let me check out your course. Let me see what kind of content you got in it. And then they give you feedback on your course. Or let me,
and they're doing the same thing.
And they're doing the same thing. So we're doing it for each other. It's a give take relationship. And I think that's the beautiful part about it. Cause I was actually about to write something in Wife U like 2 weeks ago, just to kind of like, y'all keep moving. It's something encouraging because I know that's what helped me when I was in the transition from, working full time to I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and it's been 3 years now.
Right.
So
and here's the powerful part. Like, I'm just so proud. Like, I see Johanna with her credit, education cards, and Tamara with her, virtuous bodies. But here's what I want to talk about. Angie was the first coaching client I ever had for business. And what was so powerful about Wife U, and this was like, I had this vision of like a whole university. And I was like, just to teach women how to do everything related to female woman wife, how to cook, how to take care of their husbands, how to take care of their kids, how to take care of the business, like, but all these things that I feel like we don't learn, you know what I'm saying? We don't learn that, right? We like, some people will learn all the business, or they'll learn all of the homemaking, they'll learn all of this, but they won't get a nice blend of it all. And that's why I had so many people come in to teach. And it was all people that had already left their jobs to do stuff because I wanted them to speak from that point of being there. But to your point is that when we started this group, none of us had an idea of what we would be doing.
At all.
And at
Not
all.
even a little
Like
bit.
none of us came into this group like, oh, I'm a hairdresser. I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna start a hairdresser business. We just came in there clueless. Like all we know is this is what we believe in God for, and we're gonna figure it out, or we're gonna figure it out together. So when we started growing, it was growing in the spiritual things. It wasn't looking at what makes money, right? It was looking at, and this is how I kind of do my coaching. It was looking at what are my gifts? What am I anointed to do? Because the thing that I'm anointed to do is I can package it up and it now becomes talent, and talent is translated money. And I feel like the reason why a lot of people struggle in entrepreneurship is because they went into business to make money. They didn't go into business to really operate and fully function and carry out to the next level their gift.
Right.
So when I was on coaching calls with you, you were just always so easy to work with, just because you and Christina says it to me all the time, and now I understand what she said. She's like, you just do it. You know, like there's never an excuse or this or that, but it's like, you know, I remember us sitting down going over the content for your website, and it was like, okay, check, right? It was like check, and we were going over the content for your workbook, and it was like check, you know, and when I get with people and I'm like, we've been coaching for 3 months and you ain't produced nothing, and I'm like, that ain't on me, because I'm gonna get it done. And Angie used to say to me, and I didn't even realize that I was pushing her. And she'd be like, man, you gonna push me out of here, ain't you? And she would be like, you're my pusher.
Yep. That's your forever work. That's my forever thing. Like, that's my, like, you literally pushed me overboard. And I'm like, if she don't leave me alone, and you did it. But the thing is, you never let up on me. Like the times you was like, well, okay. Cause you the one that did my ebook. You had the, you know, I gave you the content for it or whatever. And then you're like, okay, well, we can put this together. I'm like, really, Cheese? She's like, yeah, but I need it by Friday. I'm like, but that's like 2 days from now. Like, you got time. And so it just, everything, she gave me a time stamp. Like, you got to have this by Friday, this by Sunday. I need this by this time. If you want to launch this by this thing, I'm like, okay, she's about to push me over. But that push got me to where I am now.
Right.
You know, and I always.
And where are you now? You in 2 states?
I'm in 2 states. I'm in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. We're actually about to open up another location in Orlando, Florida. We have a couple of people that we're actually hiring, so we're expanding. So I'm in Georgia and we're in Florida. So those are the 2 right now that I'm in. But we actually are getting more people that's joining the team, and we're going to start expanding to different areas too. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because when we first launched it, she said, I'm gonna do an organization business. I'm like, who pays for somebody to organize them?
I said the same thing.
I'm like, but I said, you know what? If that's her gift, I want, see, my main thing with you, because I knew you were a doer. Like, I don't meet a lot of people like you that actually like do what they say they're gonna do. My thing was, I never wanted you to get to a place where things weren't functioning because you didn't have things laid out, right? Because sometimes in our doing, we don't lay it out, right? Because we're too busy doing. And that's why the people around us keep us accountable to the actual plan, right?
Well,
so
I will lay out me.
I will lay out a blueprint for somebody in a minute. Like they talking and I got a whole 5-year plan in my head. I'm like, this is a 30, 60, 90. And then it's like, and they're like, do you hear me? I'm like, oh, I got your whole 5-year plan. Like laid out. I'm done.
And that kind of gives you the structure that you need, because if you are a creative, like you're a creative person, you can kind of lose the side of, okay, the structure side, the business side of it. Okay, so I need this, this, and this, and this. And you did that for me, because it's like, okay, I got this idea, but this and this and that. And you're like, okay, well, do this. And it worked. Right. And it made it much easier.
And the interesting part is doing that for us in Whiteview, because for me, I was committed to you ladies. So anything you ladies needed from me, you got it. I was available to you guys because my life was different then. I was just starting real estate. But I'm telling you, that's when I realized that I was anointed for business.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was looking at how I was strategizing stuff with us in the group, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not just, you ain't learned this. Is what I'm saying. Like, nobody taught you this. This is just a gift that, like I said, that when people are talking, I literally, and it's always product for me. Like, I'm always like, what is your revenue generating product? Like, I'm always like, let's get to this product, because the product is going to allow you to do business at your convenience, because you're going to be able to have passive income to do things with. You know what I'm saying? So I remember, I was like, okay, you're going to do organization. You need a book about organization. You need a course about organization. You need to sell bins. I was like, you need affiliate marketing. Like, we went into all of that. And I was like, this, and I was like, but at the end of the day, I realized that there are people that have these great ideas, right? But they have nobody to help them with the planning and execution of it, right? Because we've all been told, if you have a good idea, just do it. But I feel like before you do it, let's lay out a plan so that because for me, once I get in that go mode, I don't have time to stop and plan, right? So for me, and it's crazy because I have a hard time planning for myself. So I can lay out a plan, but I have to have somebody to hold me accountable to the plan that I put myself to. So that's why, I have a coach, because I know that I can put the plan together, but then I can get, like something else will come up and I'll move around different. But I'm telling you that when you have these things, this is something that's going to really help you go to the next level. And this is my whole thing. I believe that God has called us to take over the marketplace.
Like, you can say that twice.
Yeah. I feel like we letting the world take stuff that is supposed to be, we're supposed to be setting the standard, because we have morals. So we do business in an excellent way. We do business in a way that glorifies our Father. We're not underhanded. We're not shady. We're not careless. We're not thoughtless. We're not truce breakers. All of these things that the Bible says will happen in the last days. But what happens is, because we're Christian, we feel like we can't do business, right? So now I done got to a point where I'm like, listen, I do business. You hire me, especially for business coaching, you gonna pay me, because it's business, right? But at the end of the day, if nobody shows you how to structure that gift, see, there's a difference between a gift and talent.
Right.
See, here's the thing. She's anointed. She's gifted to organize. She can do that with her. Because when we were talking about this, everybody was like, well, every time she come over here, she cleaning up, she doing it, she organizing, and she do it without even thinking. So that's her gift. What she has packaged up into Just Live is her talent, and talent in the Bible translates money. That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for her to organize. You're paying for the systems that she put in place to organize your whole house. And I sat on the phone with you. It might have been, I think you called me like 2 weeks ago. And I know every time we get on the phone, she like, I just called to ask you a simple question, girl. I done laid you out a whole plan.
And guess what I did? I did it. I'm like, oh, adding it.
Yeah, I was like, you need to have this. But when you said this, I was like, this girl got a system for organizing. You was like, okay, so the first part is this, the second part is this. I'm like, in my mind, just clean up. I'm like, you got this stage and you got piles and this, and I'm like, that is complex. But I was like, okay, I love it, because that's where I see your anointing. And I'm like, that's how I know she's anointed to do that, because I wouldn't even, the way you kind of broke that down, that you do it in 3 stages, you come back at 3 different times, you help them process through this, that, and the third. I'm like, man, this is a lot. But I'm like, that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the gift. Like I tell people, you encourage people, I'll do that for free. But putting together a plan is something that I've developed. That's a skill that I've developed, right? So because I've developed it and I've invested in it, I've packaged it up, and that's what I'm bringing to the marketplace. And see, the Bible talks about how we have to be faithful over these gifts, right? And we have to be a faithful steward, and a faithful steward is involved in expansion, right? So this is one of the reasons why I can't, in my coaching model, I'm like, the first thing I want to know is, what has God called you to do? I ain't coaching you on nothing until I know you, until I'm sure you know what the will of God is for your life. because you ain't gonna have me coaching you to be a realtor when God's called you to be an organizer. I ain't doing it.
So you ever, to kind of piggyback on that, you ever seen the people that's like they got their hand in different buckets? It's because they're trying to avoid the thing that they're supposed to really be doing.
I agree.
And then when you start getting, because I'm literally booked to December. I'm booked to December. I almost couldn't catch my breath for a minute because I'm like, okay, whoa. And this is the third time this year during COVID and all the other stuff, that this happened.
Let's not add to the fact that your husband started a cleaning business. So now this thing that expanded is tapped into him, and now he eating from this tree. Let's go ahead with that. But
and he's actually about to start doing closet installs. So it's like I said, it's a ripple effect. When you do something happens. It's like a cause and effect. And the decisions you make is the choices you make. You're going to have the decision, but the action behind it. So you make a good decision, you're probably gonna get a good result. If you make those decisions, like if you get a business coach and the business coach is telling you, do this, this, and this, and this, and you don't do this, this, and this, and this, you're going to be behind, or you're not going to see the results that you're looking to see because you're not putting the work in. Like it was long nights. Like the first website I've ever had was, I'm going to say we did that. Wife, you did it. Because even though I physically was doing the stuff, but I still was like, hey, check this page out, y'all. What y'all think? And it was good. But, of course, now somebody else did have done the website, the updated website. But it's just, I started from there. It was nights where we was up to 2 a.m, 1 a.m. Like, I need to go to sleep. I got to go to work tomorrow. But I couldn't sleep. Like, I really couldn't sleep. And the ideas kept
like,
coming.
Do you sleep? I'm like, I'm working. I got stuff in me that I got to get out. Like, it's not, I mean, I sleep. I sleep more now, but what I'm saying is when there's something that you're anointed to do, your rest is sweet, and it don't have to be forever. It's a good rest. But here's what God showed me. So now when I look at the actual coaching clients that I have, the reason why I said with that group I was only gonna do 10 women, because God said you're gonna give them everything you got. You're going to pour into them. You're going to be faithful over them. You're going to help them launch. You're going to be found faithful over them. Right. And that to me was not a test, but it was an opportunity for me to prove what I can do. So that's why I'm like, whatever we need, we got in this group. Everything was in that group. We had, everything in that group, from coaches to Johanna with the credit and Tamara with the workout. Everybody just had every aspect of good business, and it was just a beautiful thing. And we got to this, it's like we got to the mountaintop and everybody just was able to celebrate because everybody launched. There was nobody in that group that did not launch.
Nope.
And I think it was one person that I added after, and I think I added her because she was a client and I think she needed to be around y'all.
Right.
I forgot who it was, but that was the only reason I added her, because I said we were going to keep that group because we posted a lot of personal stuff and it's a lot of things, like our feelings, our fears, and things we were working through. And when I, like Angie said, when we quit, I didn't know why I was quitting. I didn't have anything lined up. Real estate wasn't even
right.
I wasn't even thinking about real estate. And it was like I quit. And then in the next week or so, or 2 weeks, I just finally was like, I can breathe. I can think. I can hear. And then that's when I kind of moved into the real estate thing. But that did not come to me. I did not quit my job for real estate. I quit my job because I just knew it was time.
And that's how it was with me. Like, I didn't have anything lined up. Literally the day after, 2 days after I quit, contracts started coming.
I remember that.
And
I'm like, that's our faith. This is what we've been believing God for. So we were in faith this whole time. This was not just business. This was faith, and then it manifested. We were hard fast to that six figures, 6 figures a year. So we could be present in our home. So we could be present to take our kids to football games, to baseball games. I'm not missing nothing my kid got going on because I gotta work. I'm not doing it. Now I'm gonna work, but I'm not missing nothing for my kids family because of work.
And it gives you time freedom. Like you said, I missed when I was working, I was missing stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to miss that. You know, I got a video of my son. Oh, you know, he know how to ride a bike. Since when? Oh, he's been riding the bikes for 2 weeks now. What? When this happened? When you was working and at that time I was working at Goodwill and I was working like 80 hours a week and all this stuff and in the office doing this and doing. I'm like, it's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much. And so
I remember saying that we as women the Bible told the man to guard the garden, right? But he told the women to be keeper of the home. It's my responsibility for the environment in this house. I'm responsible for this house. This is my domain. Yep. How can I take full responsibility for this domain if I'm so attached to another domain that has nothing to do with what I have going on here? It has no care for what I have going on here, right? So I just was like, we got to detach. Like, we got to detach so we can be fully present.
Yeah. And my kids are a lot happier now.
Right.
They're like, mom, you know, they like us being home and being able to just be there and be present. Because you can be home, but if you're not present because you're exhausted, because you just worked the 80-hour week, when are you spending time with your family? And that's another thing when it comes to organization. You got to get this order together because that's one less thing you got to worry about, you know, especially if you're working a 9 to 5 or whatever. You need to have it in order so that you still can spend that time with your family, you know, so.
And what was so powerful for you was that when COVID hit, this girl started doing organization virtually. I'm like, this is a bad girl right here. I'm like, this is a bad girl. I'm like, wait a minute. You on Zoom organizing people and getting paid for it?
Yep. I have clients in Texas, New York. I think I have somebody in Connecticut. But yeah. And they're like, I don't care. Just tell me how to do it.
So let me ask you this. How do you find your clients?
85% of my clients
Then I told you about that
referral
system.
Yes, and that's implemented definitely.
Okay.
So yeah, so 85% of my clients come from word of mouth. Okay. And then I'm on other sites like Thumbtack, Home Advisor, Google. You can just Google it, you know, Google me or whatever. Like they Google professional organizers in my area, and if I'm in their area, I come up. And social media, actually. Now social media, because I wasn't really doing social media like that. But now I'm like actually, you know, starting to do that more. And I remember, and this is funny because I remember in Wife you would putting us out of our comfort zone for sure. So I remember
was like you gotta post every day.
I remember the second week, she's like, "Oh, I need a video from everybody." A video? What we talking about? I don't know these women. Like, I know you. I don't know anybody else in this group. No, I knew you and Brenda at that time. And so I'm like, I don't know these other people. Like, they about to be all up in my business, all up in my Kool-Aid and stuff. That's not happening. But he's like, oh, you got to post by Friday. Okay, well, dang. So we doing our little videos and stuff. And so when I started doing more social media stuff,
the videos were our elevator pitches because you got to have that ready.
Yeah, like that. So, yeah, it was good though. It pushed me.
And because my thing is like, what are you doing in business if you're not posting on social media? And you ain't gotta post all day, every day, but you need to consistently post so that you can have the history that when somebody comes to your page, that something can stand out to them. If you post once a month and that doesn't resonate with me, but if you post every day and now I can scroll through 30 posts and one of them resonate with me, that one is going to be why I click and say more information.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm super excited about it. And I asked her, I said, listen, this is like when I see her, because, you know, we both busy now, right? So, but I see a lot of stuff. Every time your little email comes through my inbox and it's like, hey, and I'm like, look at this girl. She done got her email list and the database and all of that stuff. And
Because I remember you was talking about, do you have a CRM? I'm like, what is a CRM? Like, what is that?
And girl,
What's that the acronym for?
I'm like, you better find you a CRM. I'm like, if you don't get a database and you don't communicate with these people, your people should hear from you at least once a month. Like, it ain't even got to be about business. I see Ebony is on this. I called Ebony today. I call everybody at least once every 45 to 60 days. Hey, how you doing? Just checking in, because believe it or not, it's more than just business, because I call people and they're like, I'm going through. Could you pray with me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I could do that too.
I can tell you how many hugs, how many prayers, how many, especially when it comes to organizing their space, how many tears and flows all the time. So it is really more than just, I'm coming in and I'm making your space look pretty. Like, it's really, like Ashley say, it's space therapy, because
I agree.
You're changing your environment, and so now that you can clear what you see on the outside, you can start dealing with some things that's going on with you on the inside. So you have a clearer mind. But you might need to get some of the people you coaching. Let me see what your room look like. Look, call me so I can help them so they can focus.
I already told you. I'm like, the next step for you is now you're gonna have to partner with some therapists, and y'all gonna have to work out a treatment plan together. It is a big thing. I didn't realize, and like I said, until you mentioned that, I never heard of people paying people to organize. I'm like, I've heard of cleaning services. I get that.
Right.
Organization. I'm like, you can't figure out how to organize your kitchen counters.
And some people can't. Not even a little bit. Nope.
Figure that out. But then I realized they're not anointed for it. If you're not anointed for it, of course it's going to be a struggle. And then that's where you come in.
And then I get those people that have all these organizing bins and containers for no reason. It's like, you don't even need all this. But that's what happens when you try to do something outside your gift. When you try to do something that you're not, I'm not supposed to be doing this here. You come do this so I can do something else. And when we're in business, we got to remember that's what some of our businesses look like. We're doing something outside of our gifts. And so now it's a mess. Now it's like, I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't need all of this, but I'm doing something outside of what God told me to do. Because I even had to check God had to check me like a month ago. Like, hey, because you got started in this, and I need you to get back to what you've been talking about before. Don't start trying to look like the world, because that's not who you are, And so I had to remind myself, okay, what was my why? Why did I start this? I always go back to the why. It'll keep you going.
And one thing I just want to add this, and you guys may not know this, but Pastor D is my spiritual mama, and I love her to life. But Angie, and your mother told me this, and she said, I'm actually working for Angie. She said, this girl got a lot of business down here. She said, I'm like working every day.
Yeah, she tired.
And I was like, yeah. She was like, it is a blessing for your kids to put money in your pocket. She was like, this is good for me. And I was like, man, look at this. Like, you employing your mama. And God he just has a way of making sure that we bless the intended people. But what I'm saying is, I know you didn't set out to do that, but that was like an added benefit. So
you'll be surprised when you say yes to something, how just you saying yes wholeheartedly, completely to something, how it affects everybody around you.
Yeah, it does.
Once you say yes, everything changes. It does.
And here's my problem. This is why I'm such a pusher. And this is why, like, I know that whatever I have is not for me. I know it's for somebody else. Because here's the thing. When you say, you'd be surprised how life changes when you just say yes wholeheartedly. You know what drives me? I can't get past what happens when people say no. I'm like, you are literally, like, you're messing something up. I'm like, I gotta help you get to the yes. Like, I'm like, I gotta help you find a yes. I gotta help make the yes easy for you, because you are holding people up. Like, it's people that can't get to where they're supposed to. They're held captive in wherever they are, because you won't say yes. And I'm like, if I could just help you structure it, if I could show you that it can be done, if I can, my whole thing is I'll make the plan easy for you. It's nothing I've ever done that's complicated. I will make that thing easy for you. I will put it in little chunky pieces for you. But I'm like, you gotta say yes. I'm like, I just like, I don't even know what you're saying yes to. I don't even know all the stuff that comes to it. But I know that when we don't say yes, that people are impacted by it. And that's the part that I'm like, I can't let these women that I know have these big gifts, I can't let them sit on it. I just can't. I'm like, I just can't. I'm like, so I'm gonna be the one to call and be like, hey, what's going on? What you doing?
I remember it was one time I was like, oh, is she that again? Let me ask her.
And here's
I know
the
she's
thing.
gonna ask me where the paper at.
All the time. And I've gotten a little better.
No,
so
you don't need to get a little better. You need to be just like that.
Well, I had one client and she was like, you're annoying. And I was like, but you paid me to help you accomplish something and you're slacking. Like, what do you like?
Get it together.
I was like, you're not getting your money back. So like literally we have a month left. If you don't get if you don't get this accomplished, that's on you. I was like, and I'm trying to really help you. And she was like, well, I decided I don't want to do it. And I'm like, then why did we even get started? Like, why did we even get started? She was like, well, I thought I did. And I was like, no, you did. And now something is stopping you. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to let them drive it. And when they drive it, I'm going to ride with them. But I'm not going to be a driver for them anymore.
Well, sometimes fear grips you. So when fear grips you, you're stepping into the unknown. So you're like, okay, I'm stepping into this new journey. I don't know what it looks like, or what it's supposed to look like, or what it's supposed to feel like. And so when fear grips you, you start stepping back. You're like, oh, I can't do that. It's too much. You know? And so when people give up like that, it's just because fear gripped them and they allowed it. But if you don't have an accountability partner or somebody that you respect and that you can be accountable to, then you're really going to be bound by fear, because now you don't have somebody that can whisper in your ear and say, hey, you got this, girl. Hey, you can do it. You can keep pushing. Because it was times that I wanted to quit. I'm like, I don't think this for me. I think I heard God wrong.
And I'm like, no, you didn't.
You turn. I'm like, y'all taking let me stop. But it's just, you have to really fully commit. And when you make a clear yes, like, I'm doing this. And then having a support system, because I couldn't tell you how many times I didn't sat here with my husband and he's like, I know I'm driving him crazy, but he sees how passionate I am about it, that he's like, okay. And some of that stuff I do is his ideas. And I'm just like, where this man come from? He got
ideas.
He was sitting on ideas. And God's like, well, I just need you to do it, because he's a visionary. He has the ideas, the extra stuff that you need, this stuff and that stuff. But I would have never known that if I never stepped out and said yes.
Yeah. I agree.
So
2 more questions. One, tell me the story of your favorite client story. Like one area, one time, one client, one place where you know you made like a big difference.
Oh man, it's so many.
I know. I was about to say that.
It had to be my first ever client. Like, I can't say every client. And by the way, people that I helped before I started the business, I'm gonna need them reviews. No, let me stop. But my first ever client with Just Live, and it was a big project. We did her entire house. This lady, and I still talk to her now. She actually just had a heart transplant.
I remember her.
She actually had a heart transplant recently. And her story was just, it was beautiful. Like, she's been through a lot. She went through a lot. Her brother passed. Her mom is just moved back in with her. It was a bunch of stuff going on. But and her husband died. He got shot outside of their home. So she kept all this stuff. She just you couldn't even like open her front door. Big, beautiful home, but you couldn't even open the door. It was just so much. But as we began to like purge and get her organized, I kid you not, every space we did, she cried. She teared up. And I'm about to tear up now because I'm thinking about her, because she said, listen, I know my space is contributing to my health problems right now. And I know that she was like, I swear you are God sent. You're an angel. I don't even know how she found me to this day. Like, because I don't even think that's when my website was up at all. I don't even know. It was definitely God sent. And I'm like, she was like, this is something I've been praying for. I was trying to find somebody, but everybody that I saw, like other organizers, that she was looking at, they just wasn't, she didn't feel like, okay, I want them to help me, or I want them in my home. And so she was like, but when I saw you, it was just like, this is it. But each time we did a space, she cried tears. And I'm not talking about just, tears, just regular tears. She was boohoo crying. And she felt the relief. And we felt the release. Each time we walked back into her home, you just feel the air was different. We want to create a space where God can really dwell. You want to create a space where God can really rest, and he can speak to you, and he can talk to you. But you can't do that when you got all this stuff clouding you at all. And we'll begin to do that. So now she texts me every now and then, and she always say, "Hey, my baby," and it's just so funny, that we have a relationship now, based off of that. And that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
And we still keep in touch. She just moved. And so she's like, I need you to come organize my new place. I'm like, okay, it shouldn't be much, because we did it, and she was able to maintain. She started doing more things. She started painting again. She used to paint. So she started painting. She started
Look
writing
at that.
music.
She
She
started
started doing.
living.
She started living. She started
That's
living
so
again.
awesome.
And so that's my why. Like, when I get clients like that it's really a bigger impact. It's more than just their stuff. Because I get clients where I can go in there one time and I organize it. We're good. They just need a little help. But you get those clients that's so caught up in their stuff. Their stuff is really overtaking them, that it's like, I gotta help you. I gotta help you. Like, I gotta, like, I have to, it's always something that's in me that say, you have to help her and you have to finish. Even when they like, I can't do this and this and this, or even when they say, I can't afford this and this and this, those are the people I say, listen, let's do X, Y, and Z, and we're gonna do this, because it makes the biggest impact. And that's part of my ministry side of it, I guess.
Right.
So,
It,
um, I just remember her every time we came and helped her, and she'll sit there and cry. And I'm like, oh, come on now, don't start crying, because now I'm about to cry. We're gonna all be here crying with tissue. But it's really a beautiful thing when you can leave somebody home and they have their peace back and their joy back.
so, so here's what I want to say to that. What really makes me so proud listening to you is how successful you have been, will be, and have become, just following the gifts that God put in you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was the main thing with us in White View. And that's why I decided, I'm like, okay, I gotta, I like, I just want to, like, what I'm saying is, you didn't go into this and say, I can make six figures doing this. We said we just believe God gonna make it happen. However he do it,
Mm-hmm.
he do it. But while we waiting, we're gonna look inward,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is something that is truly, like, you didn't manufacture this.
Mm-mm.
This is something that is truly who you are, and it is making a life for you and so many other people. And I am honored to be a part of it, because when I look at you, I'm like, you were literally the first person in the group that reached out to me, like, outside of the group, and was like, I need you
Mm-hmm.
to coach me. And I remember I think you paid me, but I remember, yeah, you did, because we had a coaching session, and I'll never forget this. You was driving, you was working at Popeyes, and I don't know if you was working at the Goodwill at the same time. I
Mm-hmm.
think you were, because you was
Mm-hmm.
leaving one job and going to another. And,
Probably.
and and you was like, listen, I'm in my car, but we're gonna have this coaching session in my car. You was like, I'm fully present. You just go ahead and talk, but I'm gonna drive and I'm listening. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this girl is
Mm-hmm.
a beast. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and see, I didn't even really know, like, that part of you, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we were all in a different space. I didn't know that part of you, but I'm like, she
Mm-hmm.
gonna get it done. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you don't make no excuses. Like I mean, like none. Like I didn't even know you were like that. Is what I'm saying. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, she got that.
I can't. I can't. I have people depending on me.
Right.
And when we talk, like the lady I just talked about, she was depending on me to say the yes so that she can say yes to everything else that she has going on. So
Yeah.
a yes plus another yes, get somebody else a yes. It's just
Right.
a whole nother level to it. I couldn't give up because I'm like, okay, I don't know what it was, but I wanted it so bad that it's like I literally ate, sleep, drunk. I was I was like morning, noon, night, evening, whatever time it is, I need to get this done. I need to do this.
That's why it's
If
like,
I'm
how
up,
bad do you want it?
it's really about how bad you want it. Because
Right.
you can do anything. You look at all the big corporations that started in a garage or started here, but they had some accountability partners. They had
Yep.
some people that they're like, hey man, I'm not feeling this today. And they had that person there to say, hey, you can do it.
Yep.
And wife, you was that. You were that. And you still
Well,
that.
I'm excited
I feel like I owe
about
you
it.
some money though for last week though.
But, but listen, it is so funny because now I got to the point where now like I changed my phone. I got a different phone like for
Uh-huh.
clients because I'm like I just
I got
ooze
yeah.
this stuff. I'm like because listen, you called me and Kiri was like, "You gonna write a whole business plan in the car?" I'm like, I can't help it. I'm like, I get so excited, like, and I was like, I'm probably vomiting on this shit, girl. And let me tell you what's crazy. I think I had to take another call, and you was like, "Don't worry about calling me back."
Oh, I had enough information. I was
Yeah,
good.
you was like, "Don't worry about calling me back."
You answered
And
my
I'm like,
question
"I'm
and
not
then
done.
some.
Okay, I have more to say."
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, no, you're good. Go ahead, take your call. I'm gonna go work on this. Then whatever else you want to tell me, you can tell me in a couple of weeks because I'll be ready to work on it.
Well, congratulations, and just thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. And just I'm excited to see it unfold, and I want to see what 2021 is going to bring because
I can't wait.
I know you got some
We
awesome
got some
stuff
stuff
lined up.
cooking up.
I'm excited. I'm excited. So, just before we finish, just tell everybody how to get in touch with you, your social media, website, whatever information you want to share, and then we'll end with that.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at Just Live Corp. So that's Just Live and then CORP. And Instagram, Facebook, pretty much. Am I on LinkedIn? I am on LinkedIn, but it's not a lot of content. You'll get more content on Instagram that can kind of help you on your journey or anybody else that you may know. Or you can check my website out at www.justlivecorporation.com.
Well, I'm super excited. Thank you. Like I said, and the reason why I went back to doing these Monday night videos because I wanted people to understand that when they see the book Realtorpreneur, there's that realtor piece and then there's that entrepreneur piece.
Mm-hmm.
Those two go together for me because for me, real estate is real estate, but then there's a business component to everything. I don't care what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a business component to it, right? So that's the part that I don't want people to miss. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna post this video tonight about like your profit and loss statement, your budget, your forecasting, like that money piece. And I'm like, you gotta be faithful over that. You gotta know how much it takes to run your business. You gotta know if you were
Yep.
gonna go to the SBA for a loan, how much you spend on marketing, how much you spend on gas, insurance. Like those are
Mm-hmm.
the aspects of people that they're just like, I want to start a business. I'm like, nope.
Back up.
It's levels to this. Like I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
need you to pipe down and get a plan and get a budget
Mm-hmm.
forecast and all those things. And those are the parts that I don't feel the need to coach everybody in that, but I want to make sure you have an awareness of it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Um,
you have to. Profit
yeah,
and loss. That's a some. We was talking about that in the wife view, and I'm like
right,
profit and loss. But if we didn't have that, and I would have known if I made a profit or not last year or the year before that,
right, right,
But because I had the profit and loss, but I kind of knew about those too, being in management for different
yeah,
companies.
right, right, right.
But even then, wife view broke it down. It was like
Mm-hmm.
this, and this, and it's just like okay, we're gonna get it together. So
Right,
I'm
yeah.
super excited, you guys. Thanks for having me, Cheese. Hopefully we
Thank
can
you.
do this
Thank you for
again.
being here. Yes, yes. And you guys check her out. I mean, if you need organization tips, I think your emails are helpful too. So get on her mailing list. That is a great way to
Yeah.
show entrepreneur support. So we love you, Angie. Thank you so much for hopping on. Thank you, Ashley, for
Oh, thanks,
posting this.
Ash.
Yes, yes. And all right, Angie, I'll talk to you later, babe. Love
All
you.
right, bye, y'all. Love you
Bye
too.
bye.